I am shuttling between the UNGA virtual meetings presently ongoing, but I'm really delighted to be part of this opportunity. This platform for me is a bully pulpit. I grab every bully pulpit that comes my way as the Minister of Youth and Sports Development so that I can make the pitches that are necessary on behalf of our youth and also for sports development across the country. I did listen to the later part of the questions and answers from Dr. Mrs. Awushika. It's a pleasure to meet you here again. For me, it's always very delightful to listen to you, your very deep insights, your conviction, and of course, even when you speak, it is clear that you don't take any hostages at all. You cut through the chase and you want things to be done. So I see a lot of youthful characteristics in you, and I hope the mass of our youth can plug onto you as a mentor, because it is in mentorship that we can produce youth that can lead in various sectors of our lives, whether private or public or even family life. So this morning, I've been assigned a topic, strategies for young Nigerians across sectors, especially in the post-COVID-19 era. And I'm not sure we're in the post-COVID. We're still pretty much stuck in a COVID-19 era or mentality. We're making adjustments. The normal has become the abnormal, and the abnormal now the normal. Yet our lives must go on. What are these adjustments we need to make at the individual level, at the level of career development, at the level of academic development, but also the larger level of economic adjustments being made by various countries across the world? So let me start by acknowledging that Nigeria was, fortunately, so far has been spared the magnitude of fatalities that the initial modeling of the COVID-19 pandemic had predicted. We have seen the numbers continue to climb up in places like the United States. We've seen it climbing up again in the UK, but we've been spared those large numbers. Presently, the jury is still out on what is responsible for Nigeria and other countries not recording deaths on the scale once feared. But that should not let us off our guards. Eternal vigilance is the price of freedom, and in this case, eternal vigilance is the price we have to pay to stay alive and healthy. However, we must remember that the other impacts of COVID-19 pandemic are real, and they're taking their toll on Nigeria as a country, on individuals, on families and communities, and indeed on the larger scale that we originally anticipated. These impacts have to do with job losses, increased unemployment, underemployment, a general downturn of the economy, and significant changes to the nature of certain jobs. So, much as we may wish to say that the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic seems to be behind us, it might appear as if we are almost out of the water and slowly returning to business as usual. We must not let off our guards. We must prepare for a few irreversible changes that the pandemic has brought with it. This is even as doctors and analysts worldwide continue to highlight the disruptive interval that we have witnessed that will continue even up to next year. This is dominated by multiple COVID-19 outbreaks and corresponding government interventions at the national and global levels. According to the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, most experts are telling us to be hopeful that a vaccine for the most vulnerable groups might start to be available in mid-2021, about 12 to 18 months after the virus first emerged. It is only at that time we can expect a post-COVID world, a time when our lives will have returned to some semblance of normalcy. But as we step forward in this regard to prepare our youth now for a future that is clearly already upon us, the preparation will equip the youth to turn the challenges of today into the opportunities that guarantees employment and productivity tomorrow. Our youth must be equipped to get their share of the jobs that will exist in future expansion and reliance on artificial intelligence, robotics, coding for employment, and other technology-based innovations. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has, for this reason, began in the last 12 months to recalibrate its youth-oriented initiatives to ensure that they deliver the skill set and support that our young people need in order to succeed now and in the post-COVID era. For instance, the ministry's DEAL initiative, DEEL, the D standing for Digital Skills Acquisition and Literacy, the E standing for Entrepreneurship, the next T, Employability, and the last one, Leadership and Mentoring, has been accelerated to put youth through their paces so that they can be ready in time to take up opportunities that are emerging as a result of the changes brought about by the pandemic. The stimulus plan, that is the economic sustainability plan, took into cognizance DEAL initiative, and I'm glad to say that approval to fund a 12-month program under DEAL that will see 500,000 of our youth upskilled in different digital skills and also moving them from training into enterprise has been approved. And for the next 12 months, as we roll out these programs across different geopolitical zones, we hope that we can ratchet up the numbers of our youth that will be upskilled, but also turn so many of them into entrepreneurs, wealth creators, self-starters, and employers of labor. Permit me to just dwell a little bit on DEAL, the initiative that we started November last year. First, we have partnerships with stakeholders to achieve a major part of that DEAL program, which is called the WEP, the Work Experience Program, WEP. This places graduates into internships, 3 months, internship positions in different organizations countrywide. And for those 3 months, the ministry pays a monthly stipend, but these individuals are able to add some level of practical experience to the university certificates that they have, such that they can now enter into the column work experience. Instead of 0, they can have at least 3 months, and that enhances their chances of getting employed. We also have strategic implementation partners who help us with digital skills training. We have MOUs with the IBM. We're working on the final MOU with Microsoft. We just signed an MOU with Google Tuesday last week under the SMBs. Google will be providing online training for 500,000 Nigerian youth working with the ministry, and also $3.7 million for the small and medium-scale businesses. We expect that in the next 2 weeks, we're able to open the portal, and any of our youth that is interested, with no strings attached, can benefit. They just need to apply themselves to the process. We're also encouraging research and development and innovation of local content training. As we speak, our 60-day app challenge winds down very shortly, and we've received over 4,000 entries on the 60-day app challenge, focusing on 7 sectoral areas in the country. A panel will eventually sit to review these entries. Winners will be picked, and then we'll have several international partners that will pick up what the outcome of this is. We also have the inclusion of the youth in recovery plans in IT, agribusiness, and sports sectors to boost the economy. I think most importantly, Improving access to capital, start and upscale businesses is one of the major areas. I recall, as I listened to the final part of your comments, Dr. Mizawushika, you talked about the need for us to set up startup fund. I think that has been done because on July 22nd, after a presentation we made, the Federal Executive Council approved for the very first time the establishment of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, NYIF. That is a 75 billion naira fund to span 3 years and is open for our youth to fund their innovative ideas, their enterprise, existing businesses, SMEs, MSMEs. Any youth that steps forward to apply can get between 250,000 naira and 50 million naira. It is a ring-fenced fund in the sense that it is restricted. It can only be used for the purpose of investing directly in the ideas, the enterprise, and the business of our youth. It's also designed in such a way that beyond what comes in from government, can also have donor agencies and other partners pouring money into that. We hope that by the first week of October, the portal for application will open, and that process will begin both online and offline. With restrictions on travel and physical gatherings, the ministry has also considered the need to meet the youth where they reside, which is online. Therefore, most of our programs and trainings are going to be online. But you may want to ask, what happens to those who are not connected? Because for us, the profile of the youth goes beyond just the diploma holders or the degree holders or those that wield smartphones. We also designed that we will train a couple of our youth in different geopolitical areas, 6 of them, where we have developed a youth development center. We're about equipping these centers, and we can train and support our youth in batches of 200 to 250 on a rotational basis. So engagement for us will be online, largely, but also offline for the benefit of our youth in the lower rung of the ladder. We have therefore introduced a bouquet of online training and a revamp of our local education and vocational training centers. This will equip young people with the skills necessary for future jobs and economies, enhancing education in areas related to the demands of a digital economy and improving the quality of our youth workforce and enterprise. We, at this point, call on Nigerian companies to complement the government in job creation efforts, as demonstrated by our sister country. An example is how Amazon has recreated new 3,000 permanent and seasonal full-time work from home virtual jobs in South Africa, which require someone with home electronic or internet support and digital capabilities to support the company's customer inquiries. Also, Multi-Choice Group has recently partnered with Youth Employment Service to create 500 jobs for South African youth. Therefore, there's a need for an upgrade in our national response by creating a coalition to ensure a swift and coordinated response, which goes beyond meeting immediate needs via palliatives. We need to build and develop more robust structures and see this as an opportunity to rethink education with a more resilient educational system predicated on technical and vocational skills. We need to develop infrastructure to deliver efficient and affordable internet service provision, talking about the fiber optics and the bandwidth across the country. We need to scale up distance learning and also create an environment open and welcoming to youth with innovative ideas. Let me, at this point, say in the last 1 year, I have seen a rare commitment on the part of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari. Each time I've gone to him with my files and with my slides to explain the ideas and the initiatives we need, particularly for youth development. He had listened attentively and has given his support. And when you look at Empower, one of the most successful programs in support of our youth under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, we are happy that a new batch is presently being onboarded. But also you look at the National Youth Investment Fund, 75 billion, a clear support for our youth. When you look at 2 weeks ago, the approval for the very first time, the National Youth Day celebration on November 1st, with about 7 different activities lined up. Not just a talk shop on November 1st, but we'll deal with critical issues. We'll have a build-up, competitions across the country, different states, different geopolitical regions, a grand finale in Abuja. It's such a detailed program that we believe will change the fundamentals of government engagement with the youth. And then you just back up and look at 2 years ago. This president signed the Not Too Young to Run bill, precisely 2 years in May this year. And I think this bouquet of opportunities are there, beyond what other MDAs are doing, the Labor Ministry, Humanitarian, Women Affairs. But also under the stimulus plan, I think I can say this, we have a clear mandate to create between 1 to 2 million jobs for the youth and women. And a budget of not less than 10 billion has been approved for 3 or 4 ministries to ensure this. All of this will roll out very shortly in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So this rare commitment to our youth, for me, is a validation of the fact that our youth are not a problem, but a resource to be harnessed. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development is taking its initiatives to every state and every geopolitical region, including the FCT. But also let me use this opportunity to call on other critical stakeholders, particularly the group we call the Strategic Implementation Partners, to join us in building a future fit for our youth today and not tomorrow. Finally, I'm a product of engagement. I'm a product of applying myself to opportunities that exist. And I call upon our youth, there's a need to apply yourselves to the opportunities that exist. I've had so many calls to say, oh, this is another government plan, will it work? But I tell you, those that have applied themselves to these opportunities, they've been able to benefit. Unless you apply yourself to the opportunities, whether it's private, Google, Microsoft, Junior Achievement, Cadbury, Nestle, you must engage. You have to have the discipline to apply yourself to the process. It is a process thing, and then ultimately you benefit. On a final note, let me just talk about a project we started about 6 months ago. We created a website known as NOYA, called NOYA, N-O-Y-A, called the Nigerian Online Youth Assembly. The establishment of that website was informed by what we had in Rwanda, the Rwandan Youth Connect, where youth from different African countries meet each other, opportunities are shared. And rather than just simply join the Rwandan Youth Connect, we felt with our volume of 65 to 70 million youth, we should also set up our own platform. So we have NOYA, designed as an aggregator website to aggregate opportunities from public, from private, and put them on that website. And our youth can go there, plug in, and avail themselves of those opportunities. But beyond that, there are also a bouquet of resources on the NOYA website. Researches, both anecdotal and scientific, have shown that the best place to engage and meet our youth, the mass of our youth, is online. We have also seen that they spend between 6 to 7 hours daily online. So we felt we should put content, we should put opportunities that will help them to improve themselves on this website. We hope that this website is already enjoying great traffic, and as much as possible is also plugged to the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development website. We hope that our youth will benefit from this website as its importance and its content increases. Once again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. to be able to speak and engage. And I know that when I have a few questions, I'll be able to respond accordingly. Thank you once again. God bless you all, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. Unfortunately, I was trying to figure out how do we give, how do we clap on virtual platforms, and Google, my friend, was okay. Was unable to give me a proper response. Thank you so much, sir. So much. I mean, there's so many key things there. What we will do is capture all these activities, direct people to the website. So much is going on. I even picked up the art entry. My daughter is a budding artist. I hope it's not too late to get her onto that, to send an entry. We know you're very busy. So before we go to Q&A, we'd like you to stay on as we officially launch the Nigeria Business League for Youth. What is this about? What is this Nigeria Business League for Youth? Why have all the partners within the private sector decided that at this time there was a need? It's very simple. The Nigerian private sector is committed to young people. They're committed to supporting their development, working very, very closely with the government, with the minister who has just presented, other relevant government agency, to ensure that you have all the tools, all the resources that you need to succeed. Without further ado, I would like to bring back up the Minister for Youth and Sports Development to formally launch and say a few words about the Business League. Thank you very much, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I think that in the last 7 months, if you try to take account of the number of times we have had SMEs, SMEs, SMBs mentioned in government, in the private sector, online, in the newspapers, it has gained so much currency and traction. And it took COVID-19 to bring us to the realization that the small and medium businesses, the small and medium enterprises are actually the soul and strength of our economy. But beyond that, that is where the greatest opportunities and opening lies in for the youth of our country. And before I just even launch this, let me just step back and tell you, in the little study I did about Asian countries, especially focusing on Thailand, where about 10 years ago, they actually had a youth unemployment level that was very debilitating. It was so high, they needed to find a way to deal with it. And Thailand came up with the idea that the only path is that of entrepreneurship, that they needed to create an enabling environment for their youth to become entrepreneurs, wealth creators, self-starters. But then they needed to find out what were the major problems impeding this. The first was credit, access to credit. So they found a way to eliminate the cumbersome nature of accessing credit for the youth. But also they created a fund from which the youth could draw from. Then they work with financial institutions to also find a way to make sure that the processing of credits and grants was less cumbersome. But then they also found a big problem, that it wasn't enough to give the youth the funds they needed. They found out that most of them failed within 5 to 6 months of knowledge about business management, basic accounting, expenditure, revenue. It was just appalling. So they made sure that they developed several training models on business management, financial accounting, which was mandatory. 2 weeks online, 60, 30 days offline. And after they have had that knowledge, they get the funding, and most of them have been successful. As we speak, Thailand has a 1.1 or 1.2% youth unemployment rate. And the vast of these youth are entrepreneurs and wealth creators. And I think that the launch of the Nigerian Business League for Youth will focus on critical areas that will go beyond just giving our youth money or credit to start businesses, but will prepare them through a process of discipline, will inculcate in them certain ethics of business management, will focus on the need for them to also have mentors and role models in certain sectors and industries where they want to thrive, will put them on the path of discipline. There's a level of rigor that is necessary for you to succeed in business, in academia, wherever you find yourself. There's a level of rigor, a level of commitment, there's a threshold. And I think the Nigerian Business League for Youth, beyond just being an association, will deal with some of these critical issues that is needed for us to sharpen the skills of our youth, to deepen their vision, and to prepare the minds for the challenges of our time. So it's my pleasure this afternoon, this morning, still morning, to launch the Nigerian Business League for Youth. And I know that in the network that we occur through this business league, the connectivity that we'll see, the camaraderie, the sharing of information, and etc., the youth of our country will benefit. I thank you so much for this opportunity.